Hello everyone, my name is Milena and you are on my channel Curly-n-Yarny. Today I am using my SampleIt Loom to weave stain-free napkins. So let's get started! But first, let's go over the warping process and the details of the project, and I promise it won't take longer than 1 minute. So here's a draft of the pattern that we are weaving in today's video, and here's the colors I use for this project. So those are all 8-2 cotton from Maris Brassard, and the colors are Sierra, which is brown, light gray, and jeans. After this was all selected, it was warping time. So of course, as always, I kicked my boyfriend out of the room and I set up the space for warping. For this project, I selected my 10 dpi heddle and I doubled the warp in the heddle. This means that while warping, I pulled a loop out of each eyes and out of each slot of the heddle, meaning that at the end of this, I had 20 ends per inch. Now for the length of the warp, it's about 2 meters and 60 centimeters, or if you prefer 104 inches, which should be enough for 4 napkins. And truth be told, 4 people is pretty much the maximum amount of people I'm able to host at the same time, so we will never need more than those 4 napkins. I ended up warping the full width of my 16 inches SampleIt Loom. Alright, so now I am ready to show you the weaving. For transparency's sake, I have already woven 2 of the napkins. I am currently working on the 3rd one, so let's get started. So here, this is the end of the 2nd towel. Here I have a bit of scrap yarn that is quite dark, so it's harder to see, but this is just to mark the differences between the 2 towels. And here, this is the beginning of the 3rd one. So just like in the warp, I will have in the weft blocks of solid blue, and then I will also have blocks of pattern. So I'm currently still working onto the block of blue. So I might have close to 2 inches done. I need to weave it for 4 inches. So let's go back to it. My idea of the pattern is to have this color and weave effect that I think will make it look nice, but also allow it to be a bit more stain free, because if it is a little bit busy inside of the pattern, then if there's a stain, might be able to hide it better. Only time will tell if this will actually work though, but for now I think it's just fun. So the final design for those napkins was decided on with the help of my Patreons. So if you want to have this kind of power over my channel, well, head over my Patreon page, and if you subscribe, you will have access to all those kind of goodies, including votes. Alright, so I'm now ready to start the first color block. So in the warp pattern, I have 3 color blocks, and in the weft, I will also have 3 of them. I like when things balance out. So the first one will be all gray, the second one will be all brown, and the 3rd one will be again all gray. So now let's start with the first one. So again, all gray. So I have my shuttle here. So here I'm doing color and weave, and there are many things that can be done with color and weave, many different kind of pattern. So the one I want to do is one I like to call the small ladders, and I'm not just going to do the pattern, I'm actually going to do stripes of the pattern, because I feel like this is going to give a dynamic look to my napkin. So first of all, I'm just going to take the yarn off of the masking tape. The pattern will look different from one side to the other, but for me, the pattern that I think will be like the upside will be the one that I'll be looking at when I'm weaving. And so because of the way, the sequence that I warp my heddle, in order to be able to see the ladders when I weave, I need to start the pattern in the downshed. And I'm going to throw my shuttle in. And the key to this pattern is that I'm only doing 1 pick of each color. So 1 pick of gray, I'll bead. I'm also going to fix my yarn. So I go around the thread that is the farthest on the warp, I go around it, then I go inside of the shed again and I let it out. I have a whole video explaining how I do this kind of yarn transition. Then I'm going to go into the up shed. Notice that I haven't cut my blue, so my blue is still attached to the loom, so I can still use it. So now I'm going to do a pick into the up shed. And I beat, and I go back into the down shed and back with the gray. Then this is my first stripe of the pattern. We can see one little small part of the ladder, but it's gonna form more as we go. So now I'm going to go back into the up shed and I'm going to take the blue. So I do one pick into the up shed. Then I do one pick into the down shed, but again I will use the blue. And it helps with the selvages if I just go around, oopsie, around the gray one so that it will follow along the selvage. So one other pick into the up shed. So I do 3 picks in total in between the stripes. So that's one. Then I go into the down shed and I'm going to go back with the gray yarn for one pick. And then in the up shed with the blue. Down shed with the gray. And so that's our second stripe. Now I'm going to go back with the blue. I'll do one pick in the up, just like we just did. One pick into the down position. And another pick into the up position. And now we're ready to start the big chunk of the pattern. This is where we will see the ladders the most. So for that, I need to sort out my yarns and I need to do one pick into the down shed with the gray. And instead of doing only 2 in a row, I will do 5 in a row. So that's one done, 4 to go. And of course, in between the picks, I always do one pick with the blue. I definitely won't have enough to do the 5th pick. That's a shame. It's so close to the end, but it's okay. So I'm just going to fix it and I'll put some more yarn on the shuttle. So this pattern has 3 colors, as with many other patterns, but usually when you buy a loom, it only comes with 2 shuttles. So when you want to weave with more than 1 yarn, you have a few solutions. First of all, you can buy more shuttles, that's always an option, but you can also max out the possibilities of your shuttle. So here, for example, I'm adding the 2 colors on the same shuttle. Since that those yarns are never actually woven at the same time, it doesn't really matter. As always, all that I have to do is just take the piece of yarn, tape it with my masking tape, and then I will start loading. Oh boy, good done. Alright, so now this should be enough. Let's cut this. So where was I? I was ready to do a pick of blue. So let's do that pick. down shed, I will fix the gray yarn. One, two, three, four, five. Done. We're going to repeat what we did here. So I will do 3 picks of blue. So now I'm ready to weave with the blue again, and I just point out something to you about the selvages. So one of the biggest challenge of this pattern is the managing of the selvage, because when we're doing the pattern, we do each pick in the same shed, you know, because I do all of the gray in the down shed and all of the blue in the up shed. So this means that the blue yarn never gets to turn around the last thread of the warp. So if I were to just weave the pick just like this, when I pull it, it goes, so here it goes around those threads. So this one is totally skipped. If I were to do it many times in a row, this piece of yarn would actually never get woven, and I will have a long float on the side. And this is not something that we want. So there's a simple way to avoid this. So I'll just undo the pick. So that would be a better angle to show you guys. So I actually need to go force it around this thread. So instead of going into the shed like this, like I usually do, I will actually enter it from this side. So I need to go over the thread and then inside of the shed. We need also to be careful not to pick up other threads at the same time. And this way, now we're going around the selvage thread, and now we'll have nice selvages. And here the selvage won't be an issue because I'm actually, for the first time in a while, changing shed for the blue yarn. So this will be the first pick in the down shed. It does since 5 picks. So here the selvage, there's no problem. It does what it should be doing. And now I'm ready to start the pattern again. So here again, I'm going to force it around the last thread. Now that I am into the down shed, the last thread of my work is now located at the bottom of the shed. So I'm just going to take my shuttle again, go around it, and then into the shed. If I were to do this pattern all the way through, maybe I would start to find it annoying, but still, since it's only for the point of the pattern, I think it's highly manageable. Bow. Here again, I am very short. I have to fill up the shuttle again with blue. Hopefully I can do it after I'm done with the repeat of the pattern, but it's gonna be a tough one. So we have now one full block of the pattern completed. So here we can see the little ladders forming into the gray stripes. I like that, again, I'm doing different stripes, so it is way more dynamic than just one big block. I'm done with the gray, so I'm just going to cut it and fix it. And I will be back with this yarn only later on for the second and last block of color. So now what I'm about to do is just keep weaving with the blue. However, I really don't have that much blue left, so I'll do one pick and then I'll have to fill my shuttle again. T'es impressionné? Oui. Beau, hein? Peux-tu faire papa? Pas d'en déranger papa. Alright, so I've done enough in between the blocks, so and now I'm going to do the pattern with the brown, and it will be easy. It's the exact same thing we've just done, except this time it's with brown. So let's go! For me, one of the biggest challenge with this project is not the pattern, it's not the selvages, it's the direction of the shuttles, because I've gotten comfortable with my loom in a way that maybe it's not the best thing, because every time that my shuttle that I'm working with is on the left, I know that I'm going to weave into the up position, and every time that my shuttle is on the right, I'm going to weave into the down position. But since that here I'm working with two shuttles and each of them do a peak, it just cannot be this way, and so I do get confused here and there. But I think it's a little bit my own fault. I shouldn't have get too comfortable with this with my loom. So the brown part of the pattern is now done. This means that we have reached already half of the napkin. It goes very fast because it is quite a small project. So now I'm going to do another portion of blue, and let's go. this is it. We have them, the far stain-free napkins. I'm so happy with how they turned out. After being off the loom and wet finish, the yarn really blew up, and this is when we really started to see the pattern. So I feel like we really can see the little ladders I was talking about earlier in the video. So the little ladders are, to me, like the good side of the fabric, although the reverse is also very beautiful. It's just, it doesn't look like ladders. So this is the side I decided to use in order to be making the hem. So this is the good side and this is the other side. Now I can't wait to host people over so that we can actually try them. In terms of dimensions, the four of them didn't turn out exactly the same size, and this is to be expected since those are handmade. And there's one of them in which I made a mistake in the pattern. So this one ended up being a little bit shorter because I missed a few of the gray lines. I can't find the one it is, but one of them is shorter because of that. But in the big scope of things, it doesn't show so much, and I can just fold them in a way that it wouldn't show, and only you and I will know about this. But thinking back about the dimensions, in general or on average, they are pretty much the same width. So this is about 12.5 inch or 32 centimeters, and for the length they are a little bit longer than they are wide. So they ended up being about 17.5 inches long, or if you prefer, can't remember the conversion in centimeters, but 40 something centimeters, which I think is a very good size. So it's very nice and easy to fold them, and depending on how I fold them, I get different results. So that's pretty cool. And if you are curious to know if those are really stain free, hop on to my Patreon page, because with my members I will be putting them to the test and you don't want to miss this. Thank you so much for being with me today for this video, and see you soon in the next one.